again. Half a month later, in the training ground, a demon rushed to attack. Duin calmly waited for it to get closer. The demon launched its sharp claw at Duin, but fortunately, Duin jumped away in time and landed behind it while drawing his dagger. Duin then stabbed the demon from behind, causing it to scream in pain and die instantly. Wiping the blood from his face, Duin shouted that he was ready for the next level. However, Quang Lan, who was surprised by Duin, replied that there was no next level and that the monster data he submitted was all they had. Duin caught his breath upon hearing this and lay down on the ground, exhausted. Duin then cried with happiness, asking Ning Feng if he had succeeded. Feng knows that to train a 4th transformation adventurer to that level in just half a month is truly a miracle, and their adventurer management bureau must definitely build a good relationship with that mysterious powerhouse. Feng then laughs and realizes that his head is on fire again with excitement. Quang Lan saw it and worried about Feng's health, but Feng told her not to worry because, as a mutant, making it to his age is already a stroke of luck. She knows that the fact that Feng enrolled his grandson in school in Kinyu City means he has already had thoughts of passing on his legacy. She asks Feng if there is any way to ease the price of the power of darkness, but Feng keeps his silence and tells her that they should talk about it later because he needs to take Duin to participate in the trial secret realm first. Later, in the Azure Sharp Guild, the 7 great guilds were waiting when Feng and Duin arrived. Yingjin greeted Duin, introduced himself from the Yu Guild, and told him that those present were the presidents of the 7 great guilds. Duin noticed that these presidents were all at the 5th transformation or close to it. He remembered that in the past, even the master couldn't get them to come out together, making him think that the revelation of the gods had indeed unsettled them. In the face of the gods, only his boss, Ning Feng, could maintain their composure, which is why Ning Feng deserves to be the boss. Shiyu thought that he had just reached the 5th transformation, making him wonder why they should make a grand show of welcoming someone at the 4th transformation level. He was pissed that Lao Feng was playing mysterious, refusing to tell them anything, while the sly old foxes tried to butter him up with favors from his secret realm, only to come there and curry favor, which he found shameless. They then headed to Shiyu's realm where the gods could be seen. Shiyu told Duin that everyone wanted to admire his strength and hoped he could grant them that chance, allowing them to live stream through the formation in the secret realm. Duin replied that it was fine with him and said something to Shiyu in exchange. A moment later, a tripod with a cell phone was set up, and the 7 great guild presidents were looking at the camera with sweat on their brows, wondering if the mysterious powerhouse was really on the phone and if they should seize the opportunity to make an appearance and get acquainted. However, they all knew that if they ended up angering the powerhouse, the consequences could be dire. Meanwhile, in Duin's villa, Ning Feng was sitting on the couch eating chips and watching television when he heard his phone, making him realize that the trial had started. He saw that Duin's speed was quite fast. Yingjin couldn't believe that Duin was incredibly skilled and moving at a speed several times faster than his own. Shiyu stutteringly asked if Duin was truly only at the 4th transformation level. On the other hand, Duin easily cleared the 30th floor, 40th floor, and 50th floor, which they all witnessed. Shiyu, in shock, shouted that Duin had already surpassed the number of floors Yingjin had cleared. With incredible speed, Duin faced the boss of the dungeon. Duin calmly confronted it and eventually killed it without much effort. Duin then passed the trial, leaving the presidents of the 7 great guilds in disbelief that he had actually succeeded. Duin was then surprised when he saw a bright light appear above him, and the system showed that he had obtained the blessing in recognition of the god's first clearance reward. The reward was God's forbidden spell, which stunned everyone in disbelief and surprise. Shiyu was pissed, realizing that the blessing and recognition of the gods were first clearance rewards, and wondered if it meant that those who passed the trial later wouldn't have the chance to obtain it. Shiyu cussed under his breath, thinking that it was his secret realm, so the first clearance reward should rightfully be his. On the other hand, the system scanned Duin, and Duin was surprised when it indicated that his adventurer profession was not perfect enough to learn the forbidden spell. Yingjin asked what it meant, and Ning Feng, who was watching, remembered that according to the Realm Lord's memory, it once showed that the profession in their world had not yet reached its optimal form. This made them wonder if it meant there was no chance of getting a reward. The system then showed Duin that the reward had been adjusted to a divine emblem, making Duin confused. The system explained to Duin that his profession belongs to the strength category blessed by the 12 main gods as the true Holy Spirit, and he has 3 different career paths to choose from for advancement. Duin clicked the choices, and the system displayed the first option, Sword Saint of Martial Spirit, a powerful warrior who controls the sword with Kai, is decisive in battles, and often exhibits extraordinary combat prowess when facing strong opponents. The second option is Supreme Fighting Saint, who never relies on external objects, wholeheartedly explores the limits of one's own combat abilities, and delivers every punch and kick with formidable power. The last option is Martial Soldier Immortal, proficient in using various weapons to defeat opponents and able to observe and comprehend enemy skills during battle, which also falls under the strength category. Doon thought that since his weapon is a short sword, he should choose the path of Sword Saint of Martial Spirit. Suddenly, an emblem appeared, and the system showed Doon that he had obtained the Condensed Chi emblem, a consumable of orange quality that permanently boosts strength and attribute by 4 and true Chi recovery speed by 80%. The system explained to him that the divine emblem is condensed from divine power, containing the fundamental rules of the universe within it, and he shouldn't be afraid but just focus on absorbing it. Yanchuan pointed above them and shouted for everyone to look. They all followed his gaze and saw the sky releasing a bright light, making them wonder what was going on. The system then showed Doon that the Trial of the Gods, the Ruins of Laurel City, was complete, world level +1, and its divine emblem drop rate increased from 0% to 1%. The same system message was shown to the people in the city, and they started to record it because it had just appeared out of nowhere. Meanwhile, in Doon's villa, Ningfeng is staring outside, looking at the system notification showing that his mission, the Trial of the Gods, required him to pass the trial's secret realm and utilize its power for himself. The notification then changed to completed. The presidents of the 7 great guilds panicked when they saw it and heard that people from other places had also seen the message, meaning it was a worldwide announcement. Doon then emerged from the dungeon and headed to the guild presidents waiting for him. Yingjin noticed that Doon's strength exceeded the limitations of a mere 4th transformation and guessed that the power system of the whole world would be overturned because of Doon's existence. Yingjin then asked Doon if he would be interested in joining their Yu guild, and other guild presidents also invited Doon to join them. However, Doon replied that he was not considering joining any guilds at the moment. Later, Doon returned to his villa and, crying, told Ningfeng that he made it and didn't disappoint him. Ningfeng laughingly praised Doon, telling him that his own efforts played a significant role too. He then mentioned that he couldn't see clearly on his phone at that time and began drawing something. After showing it to Doon, he asked if this was what the divine emblem he was talking about looked like. Doon replied yes and noted that except for different patterns, they all looked the same in shape. He asked Ningfeng if he also knew about those emblems. Ningfeng replied yes and told Doon that he got one when he was doing dungeons before and gave it to Wang Yu, causing a moment of silence between them. Doon thought that Ningfeng casually gives away divine artifacts and realized that his efforts were still far from enough. He remembered that the divine insignia is formed by the condensation of divine power, making him wonder if, because Ningfeng also has divine power, he could produce emblems in the ordinary secret realm. He knew that, although he didn't want to admit it, the evil god was also a god, and there was another thing that bothered him. He then wondered if he might be facing threats from all 12 main gods. Doon explains that in order to obtain the divine emblem, the 7 major guilds have already started taking action, searching for more secret trial realms. He believes it won't be long before all the guilds join in. He knows Doon completed the trial and the system recognized it as a mission completed, indicating that as long as he can control the person who clears the trial, he can utilize that power for himself. However, he wonders what will happen if the person who completes the trial is his enemy. He realizes that the divine emblem is a minor issue compared to the bigger concern. After passing through the trial realm, one might learn a forbidden spell. If a forbidden spell falls into the hands of his enemy, it will definitely pose a threat to him. Additionally, if his existence is exposed to the gods, it will cause even greater trouble. He wonders if there is any way to ensure that those who complete the trial are all his own people, but it seems very difficult to achieve. Doon then tells him there is actually one more thing, but he is not sure if what he did was right. Curious, he asks Doon what it was. Doon replies that during the time in the Azure Sharp Guild, Shiyu told him it was a bit embarrassing to mention. But according to their contract, the rewards Doon obtained from the secret trial realm needed to be returned to their guild. Doon apologizes to Shiyu, explaining that he has already absorbed the divine emblem, but the remaining items are still available. He hands them over to Shiyu. Shiyu shouts at Doon, demanding that he leave the divine emblem with him or else he won't be leaving that place. However, Shiyu just wishes he could say that because he can't. Meanwhile, the guild presidents are amazed to see the orange set pieces, high-grade gems, and the recipe for the Potion of Forgetfulness. Shiyu knows that the Potion of Forgetfulness can erase a specified skill, making the skill slot available again. Since leveling up is difficult and skill slots are extremely valuable, a person's skill choices determine their future. This means having that potion equates to having more opportunities for choice. Shiyu then smiles, thinking that just like the high-grade experience potion, this elixir could change the world. If they monopolize these two potions, their Azure Sharp Guild would surely attract more strong individuals to join, and their strength would quickly surpass that of the other official guilds. However, the only problem is to keep Doon quiet so he doesn't leak the recipe. Shiyu then tells Doon that according to their contract, he should ensure the confidentiality of the potion recipe and not disclose it to others. Doon replies that he has seen that recipe before from his boss, and it was exactly the same, which shocks Shiyu and the others. Doon explains that even if he doesn't reveal it, his boss will still be able to make that potion. Shiyu responds that they have investigated before, and the rewards for the first completion of the secret trial realm are unique and have never been recorded before. He says the mysterious powerhouse had already obtained that potion recipe. Shiyu then asks Doon if there is any evidence, but Doon remains silent, making Shiyu smile. He thinks Doon shouldn't believe he could pressure him with the mysterious powerhouse, as no one could take away what belongs to him. Doon then replies that he is not qualified to prove anything for his boss, but if they are talking about evidence, his boss also knows the formula for their high-grade experience potion and has already brewed it. This stuns Shiyu, who asks how it is possible. The other guild presidents panic when they realize that the mysterious powerhouse actually knows what is inside the secret trial realm. They ask if Doon is so skilled that he might have used those potions long ago. Then, Yingjin sees Feng smiling on the side and asks Feng what he is laughing at. Feng replies that he remembered something joyful. Yingjin asks Feng what joyful thing, but Feng just tells Yingjin that it is none of his business, making Yingjin angry and call Feng an old bastard, but Feng just smiles teasingly. Feng then figures out that it is no wonder Rui mentioned that Ningfeng casually gave away 40 bottles of experience potions because he didn't take them seriously at all. It seems that transferring Rui to another school was a very wise decision. Doon then tells them that if there is nothing else, he'll leave first, and Feng tells Doon that he'll accompany him back. They then walk away, leaving the guild president staring at them blankly. Feng then asks Doon if he can inquire if the mysterious powerhouse has any other potions available. He tells Doon that his body has been tainted by the power of darkness and is deteriorating day by day, but he still wants to live a few more years to spend more time with his grandson. Doon tells Feng that he can inquire for him, and Feng respectfully thanks Doon for it. Doon then apologizes to Ningfeng because he shouldn't have made decisions on his own. But Ningfeng tells Doon that he did nothing wrong, so there is no need for him to apologize. He wanted to help Feng if he could, but he is unsure if the nourishing potion would have any effect on Feng. He then ordered Doon to find some time to take a few bottles of the nourishing potion to Feng and let him try them out, to which Doon replied, okay. Later, Doon arrives at Feng's building and asks Quanglan if Feng is there. Quanglan replies that Feng seems to have an important meeting, so he went back to the bureau. Doon tells her that he has some potions meant for Feng. Quanglan tells him that he can leave them there and she'll pass them along to Feng later. A moment later, Quanglan rings the doorbell at Lao Feng's apartment door, but no one answers. She wonders if Rui isn't home and where he would go, being unfamiliar with Kinyu City. She walks away, deciding to come back tomorrow, without noticing the dark power hissing and emanating from Rui's door. Inside the room, Rui is kneeling on the ground, trembling as darkness pours out of his body. A demon voice asks Rui if he wants to save his grandfather, promising help if Rui submits to him. Rui replies that he is Feng's grandson and will never betray humanity by making a pact with the demon. The demon tells Rui that humans are fragile creatures, always entangling themselves in strange rules, and challenges him to see how long he can maintain his stubborn attitude. The demon also warns that when his grandfather dies in front of him, Rui may not be able to speak so bravely. The next day, in the school playground, Rui is sitting silently on the stairs, deep in thought. Ningfeng approaches and asks Rui if he is feeling down. He then asks Rui if he wants to play a couple of games to lift his mood. But Rui apologizes, explaining that his grandfather doesn't allow him to play games at school. Ningfeng tells Rui that when Feng comes back, they can team up for some rounds, and that Feng is really good at it, making him genuinely amazed. Rui sadly tells him that his grandfather learned to play games just for him because when he was a child, his parents were killed while on a mission. It was a huge blow to him, and he became very withdrawn, locking himself in his room all the time. His grandfather didn't know how to comfort him, but he remembered that he used to love playing competitive games. So, he secretly learned how to play them himself. During Rui's darkest times, his grandfather was always there for him, helping him come out of his shell, for which Rui was very grateful. Rui then apologized to Ningfeng for suddenly bringing up personal matters, assuring him that he didn't mean to bore him. Meanwhile, in the meeting room, Feng was listening to a reporter introduce Penghe, a third transformation 4-star professional. The reporter informed everyone that 8 years ago, Peng was arrested for maliciously injuring someone in a secret realm and sentenced to 15 years in prison. But 6 years ago, Peng mysteriously disappeared from prison. The reporter then introduced them to a man named Gu Ying, also a third transformation 4-star professional and a monitored mutant. who mysteriously disappeared from his home 5 years ago. A few days ago, these two men suddenly appeared in Peng's hometown, Xingyuan City, and brutally murdered two adventurers and their families, leaving no survivors. Feng's secretary tells him that the two adventurers who were killed were part of the team that captured Peng back then, and Peng's motive seems to be revenge. However, one of the men notes that the files state those two adventurers were fourth transformation experts, raising the question of how they could be defeated